On May 26th at 2:43 p.m., my oldest son decided, or rather he didn't decide. He just he went into a diabetic coma with several organs already failing. And after numerous tests for the brain activity, he was pronounced brain dead. It's hard. It's very hard. He would be 38 this year on August 22nd. I remember when he was born like it just happened. I went into labor at 5:30 a.m. and I remember I was only 17, okay? I lived at home. My dad was getting ready to go to work, and whatever happened with my body happened. My water didn't break though, but I was like, am I in labor? And I really didn't feel anything. Not at all, or not quite yet. But my mom was like, oh my God, yes, you're in labor. We got to get you to the hospital. And get to the hospital because he was premature. They rushed me to a better hospital that's more equipped for that. And I remember on the ambulance ride, my contractions kicked in. Oh my God. And I was like getting really hot, and I was stripped nude already at this point. And I'm in the back of the ambulance. There was tons of construction work going on because summertime is construction season in the Midwest. And I ripped off my sheet. We were right behind a semi or some kind of a truck. And I know I was thinking, I hope they can't see in here, and I hope they enjoy the show if they can. But it was fast. They got me to the hospital, got me on the maternity ward, and pretty much took a look and said, oh, you're having that baby now. And I can honestly say that at that point, I could feel the crowning or whatever, even though my water bag had still not broken. So, and this is my first baby. I'm not sure what the fuck is going on, but I knew it was going to be one hell of a ride. So they got me into my room because that's where I had my baby, was right in my room. And, they did their thing, and it was all really fast. It was super fast. And I I gave that first push, and I know I screamed and yelled or something because my mom was out in the hallway, wherever. She was not my labor coach, and I'm glad of that. My aunt was. And she said, I could hear you when you screamed on that first push. I'm like, oops. But all it took, that little turd, was 4 pushes, and boom, he was out. A little 5 pounder, and then they had to they got some fluid out of his lungs, and that brought his weight down to 4 pounds and 11 ounces. Yeah, nice little one for my first one. That was wonderful. And but what wasn't wonderful was I had toxemia, and it didn't happen until childbirth. As soon as he was delivered, my hands, my feet, my face started to swell up, and I was having super fast heart palpitations, whatever the fuck. And I was I was awake, but I didn't feel like I was awake. So they had to sedate me. I mean, not to the point where I'm sleeping, but they were keeping me very calm, because of the toxemia, and it was affecting my heart rate. So they had to keep me calm, and I wasn't allowed visitors for the first 3 days. I had him on a Monday, and I wasn't allowed visitors for I think 2 or 3 days, and except my mom and dad, they could come up. And when I could finally have the visitors, then my brother, he came up. And I remember when he held him, he was in his little blue beanie that the nurses or the, auxiliary staff, they knit, whatever group they have there. And his little booties on his feet, blue, and wrapped up in a blue blankie, of course. But my brother, when he held him, he kind of held him out at arm's length a little bit. And he was like, "Hey, little dude." And it was just really cute. So, and when I was pregnant with my boy, I don't remember how far along I was, but I had a dream, and it was an angel. She talked to me, and I I didn't know if I was having a boy or a girl, and I didn't. I mean, even with the ultrasound, it was like, it looks like that could be what it is, but it was just too early to really tell. And then I was like, what the hell am I going to name this kid? I don't know what to name my child. And when I had this dream, or a visit rather, the angel told me to name him Seth. I'm like, okay. At that time in my life, I kind of look at it as Seth saved me, because I was making a lot of really, really bad decisions in my later teenage years. And I think that he saved me because it got my ass in line, and I knew I didn't want to go to the Lutheran church anymore. That just didn't resonate. To me, it was like, that's a good place to take a nap. I was baptized Lutheran, all that kind of, But I started going to the First Assemblies of God shortly after that, and that's when my gifts really, really came to life, like a lot. And I mean, I could always see spirits. I had some in my bedroom when I was a child, and they scared the shit out of me. So I made my dad put up an actual door on my closet. So when I had that dream, I was like, okay. And then fast forward, I have this beautiful baby. I died. I did. I had the whole out of body experience. I was floating above my body. I saw everything. I remember at that moment, I heard these like bells, alarms type thing, like you would on a machine on a monitor in a hospital or something. I remember that. It was loud. And I remember seeing different people of the nursing staff, and I want to think a doctor came in there. I don't know for sure, but they were rushing around me and they were putting IVs in me and doing whatever they had to. I had the mask on for breathing, so I don't know exactly what happened at that moment, but I do know I had an out of body experience, and I also knew that I was looking down at my newborn baby, and I felt him call me back to my body. So I fell back into this flesh, and I was just kind of, what the fuck just happened? And but and then after that, they had to really keep me stable, because otherwise they were afraid that they could have lost me. So I came back for my son. I do believe that he called me back. And he was my little buddy. We did everything together. And one day a month, because I had him my first week right before my senior year of high school started. So I would, one day a month, I was allowed to skip out of school and stay at home and be mom. And what I would do with that is I would take him for a walk, and I would walk up to the school and I'd show him off. So I kind of did still go to school, but I just wasn't actively doing the work. When Seth was 6 years old, he went to go live with his dad. Not because I wanted him to, but I was in a hard spot, a place I was supposed to be renting. They decided not to rent it to me because they found out that my other children's father was such a prick, and they didn't want to have to deal with him, or like if he ever came out to my place and caused trouble, they didn't want to have to deal with that. So when I went and told my parents this, my mom, and this is why I have issues with my mom. Well, this is one of the issues. My mom said, she is not staying here. I am not raising her kids. I raised mine. And, looking at that now, I think, why the hell would she think that I would even expect her to raise my kids? I mean, yeah, I lived at home with my firstborn, and my parents did kind of raise him with me, and I'm forever grateful for that. But why would she think I was going to do that with the other two? So, whatever. Because I have such a temper, and I don't think clearly when I get that angry. I make the worst decisions that could ever happen, and since then I have learned to pull back, take a breath or two or three or four or five or however many it takes, and rethink my decision before I do it. And what I did, because I was going to be homeless, that's all I knew. And I knew I needed someplace to stay. And I knew that my son needed to start school because he was that age. So I called his dad. And that was the worst thing I could have done. Because as soon as he had him, the first thing he said on the phone to me was, I'll come and pick him up, but I'm not going to just come get him for a couple weeks until you get your shit together. If he's going to come here to stay with me, you're going to sign over custody. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh my God, this cannot happen. But I needed my son to be somewhere. And could I have let him stay at my mom and dad's? Absolutely. But because I was in my temper, I was in my anger, I was having a fit, whatever, I was like, no, we are a package deal. That was where my head was at. And that was hard. And after his dad had him, the contact started to diminish. And ultimately, I didn't see my son for 7 years. I didn't see my son for 7 years. I wrote him letters. I would send him things, but he never got them. And when we were reunited, it was the most beautiful thing. I even remember Mother's Day that year. He signed the card, "No kid should grow up without their mom." Yeah. So after we had been in contact again, he graduated high school, and his dad knew, okay, she's seeing him, so there's nothing I can do about it. And I mean, I went to his graduation, and then he went in the military, the National Guards, and he started going to not culinary school, but he went to the tech school here in town, and did that for a little bit. He moved back. He moved back in with me when he was older, after I had already been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So he helped me out a lot when he came and stayed with me for a year to get back on his feet. And I'm just so sad because about 5 years ago, he decided to just kind of cut us all of us off. And it's a shame that in his death, that is how I finally got to see him. But I didn't see him. I just saw the shell of a brilliant person who is now just not, I can't even say he was even existing. His organs had already shut down. The liver, his pancreas, his heart, those were already like basically dead. If you have diabetes, you better be taking care of your shit. That's all I have to say. If not for you, for your family, don't put them through this. I'm just, today I don't know exactly what I am today. I know that ever since I received the information that he was in the hospital, and I was making damn sure that I was down there as much as I could, my health fucking suffered from it. I'm still recovering. I had a lot of MS issues start up with that, because anything emotional for me, it's pretty much an instant flare-up, but I didn't have that happen, so I'm very thankful for that. I've taken time off of doing readings, definitely not doing any Reiki. Hell no. I need to get myself well and in the right mind frame. And I just, for right now, I'm not going to do any Reiki, but I think I'll start putting some readings out there and doing, probably resume with What the Fuck Wednesday tarot and things like that. But this is just a small part of my story. My life story, really, after I reflect on it, it has not been much joy. It's been a life, I've had a life of a lot of struggle, a lot of betrayal, a lot of failure. I mean, yeah, I gained a lot of wisdom with it, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's fucking hard. 5 years ago, I lost my mom. Then a couple months after that, I lost my love. And now I've lost my son. 5 years ago. 5 is the number of change. I'm so done with this shit. And I've met my 3 quota. You know, they say it all comes in threes. Well, guess what? I've had my 3. I'm done. So nobody, do not die on me, okay? Don't. Take care of yourself. Get your ass off the couch and work out or something, lose the fat, or start eating healthier. Pay attention to your body and don't ignore the signs when things start going bad. I know healthcare sucks and it's expensive, but god damn it, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? And you gotta take care of your spirit, take care of your heart. I know that my son, when he passed, I know he was not happy. And I know that because I'm his mom and I could feel him. And I could see those tears that were streaming down his eyes, even though he was brain dead. I know he heard everything. I know he heard all of us talking to him. And I do believe that he wanted to fight to stay alive, but he couldn't. And for that, I'm pissed off at the goddess that rules over that kind of shit. How could you take him away from me? That is the questions I have. Why? Why did you take my son away from me? Why didn't you give him that other crack? Why didn't you hear my prayers? Why didn't you grant the miracle that I fucking begged you for? Begged you for. I would have given up my own life for his. I'm 55. I've been through it. I've lived enough. I've had enough. I have grandchildren now, yes, but they're young enough that they wouldn't remember me. So go ahead, take me. That's what I kept saying. And you know what the answer I got back was? No, you're needed. It's not your time. Well, guess what? I'm not fucking working for you right now. It's going to take a little bit. And to anybody who's watching this, I'll get back to it. But right now, no Reiki treatments. None. I'm still healing. And I know I'm going to need to go to someone to help me with that. So anyway, I know this is a kind of a long video, but I just want to upload it for those of you who are not in my inner circle per se, and you don't know exactly what has happened in my life. And I just want to clear that up and also say thank you for the prayers, the good intentions, and everything to make me feel better. Thank you so much for that. On that note, it's another manic Monday for me. I'll talk to you later. Bye now.